Hello, how you doing? And welcome to the hotspot this Saturday. It is a match day. We are taking on Luton at Old Trafford. This should be an easy one if you think about it, because history says that Man United does not struggle against newly promoted sides. Out of the last 13 games we've played against a newly promoted side, we've won 12 of those and drawn the other. So meaning we can as well come into this one knowing that this is a small team we should bully. But at the back of our minds, we should know that the same Luton, who is lying 17th on the pile, were able to get a draw against Liverpool in their own yard. So it is going to be a different atmosphere, obviously, at Old Trafford. But Liverpool are a tougher team by far than Man United this season. United is 6 points off the top four. So obviously, whereas we are playing a team in relegation, we cannot be feeling so confident that we are so good ourselves. So guys, hotspot, we are building up to this one. Man United, Luton, we cannot afford to lose another game at Old Trafford against a small club. Now this season, and I was trying to understand the history of United to try and have an idea of the worst that can happen for us this season. And the last time United lost 9 out of the first 17 games in a season, we were relegated. That was in the 1973-74 season. Now, obviously, that's not even a debate. United is not in the relegation conversation, obviously, without a shadow of a doubt. But for us, I think the worst as United now, after finishing third last season, the worst should not be relegation. It's not what we should be thinking about. It is us finishing outside the top five. And with our performances, it looks possible. But the beauty is, even the other clubs that are ahead of us are not so way far ahead of us. Because if with the terrible season we've had, we are 6 points off the top four, I think there is hope because we are just, 10, 11 games into the season. So there is really hope that things can change around. But what exactly is supposed to happen if things are going to change around? Because, guys, take nothing away from it. If we survive relegation, we won't be celebrating saying, well, the last season we lost 9 out of 17, we got relegated, so it's okay. This time we are not relegated, because United is not going to be relegated this season. But for me, I think that should not distract us from the fact that we are doing so well. And as we do take on Luton, for me, I will not expect anything short of an obliteration. We should beat Luton and take them to footballing school. Now, you may say we have no right as United to be asking for that of these players, but after seeing the first 40 minutes before the red card against in the Champions League, before the red card against Marcus Rashford, we played football. We had patterns, we improved, we looked like Man United. That's what I expect to see for 90 minutes. I don't expect us to start well off the blocks in 20 minutes and we start panting and losing ideas of what we want to do. I expect this one to be a more convincing, well applied victory for Manchester United. That's what I expect. Nothing short of that. Not just any victory, but we should be able to win this one with conviction and with confidence that we are Man United and we are taking on a newly promoted side, Luton, that barely has a reasonable playing ground. They are really a small club. That's the fact. So we cannot struggle against them at Old Trafford. That's for me, and regardless of who starts, and I won't even dwell so much on who is going to start or not, on whether I should start Marcus Rashford ahead of Facundo Pellistri. I actually think rather ahead uh, of Pellistri on the right, or Rashford should go back on the left because he's available. I mean, he was red carded in the Champions League, not the Premier League. So is he going to go back on the left and we see Pellistri on the right, or is Anthony coming back in the Premier League to start on the right? It's still not clear. But for me, regardless who starts where, I think Man United should be able to deal well with Luton, whichever players. Even actually, if I were Eric Ten Hag, I would give certain players like Bruno Fernandes a break. And it might sound silly to think that we can give a player like Bruno a break now with our situation, but I feel like at times you want to do the unexpected, because Luton will come prepared for Bruno. They will come prepared for players like, uh, of course, HOJLUND has to start, but they will come prepared for Marcus Rashford. Surprise them and start Pellistri. Surprise them and start Hannibal Mabry. Surprise them and start Alejandro Garnacho, and of course add the HOJLUND there. Add, okay, Bruno can stay, maybe can start also to balance it up, but mix a fine share of the young lads with these so-called senior players and surprise Luton, because these young players too will have the confidence and hunger to take on Luton. For me, I'm thinking, United has got to change a few things. Ten Hag has got to change a few things. I think the senior players have been under a lot of pressure and scrutiny that it is against a small club like Luton that you can afford to rest them. And I don't think anyone, regardless of how it turns out, and I know it can only end at worst a draw, but regardless how it turns out, I don't think anyone will be calling for the head of Eric Ten Hag for resting Bruno or Christian Eriksen or Scott McTominay and giving a chance to young players. For me, I don't think anyone would be calling for his head. I think if there was any one game that Kobe Maino deserved to be starting or was right to be starting, it should be this one, unless he got injured when he was playing for the under 19s. For me, these are the things I expect to see from Ten Hag. This is a good game, but it's an important game for Ten Hag to ease the pressure of the certain players, but also of himself, and also excite supporters, because support fans will be excited by young players coming and doing things, trying out new things, looking talented and exciting, not frustrated, because the so-called senior players are frowning. They are playing with no confidence. They know that the fans in the stands are booing them, so they are playing in their heads. So give the Alejandro Garnachos, Facundo Pelistris a chance to go and enjoy themselves against Luton, and they can actually obliterate them. Hannibal Mejbri. These are the players who will go and enjoy their football. But against Luton, trust me, if you have a bunch of these so-called senior players, they're going to be playing under pressure, and they'll be playing in their heads thinking, if it doesn't work again, if Luton beats us, what are the fans going to think? What is going to happen? So I think this is the time we expect Eric Ten Hag to play the psychological game and make unexpected changes. Make unexpected changes, if anything. I would be mad and say Andrew Nana, you're resting, and I start out there buying deal if I have to do that. So for me, I expect Ten Hag to do something on this squad. And the squads are not yet out, but I would be surprised if Ten Hag again maintains the same players who are struggling to in that game against Copenhagen. We are playing desperate football now, but I think, and we've been justified to do that for the past couple of games since the start of the season. But I feel now against Luton, we are beginning to settle in. People are used to the fact that we are not good enough, actually, that actually now, if Eric Ten Hag rested certain players and gave a chance to other younger players, people would not put him under pressure, asking, why are you not playing this one ahead of the other? No one will be doing that. In fact, people would be rallying behind Eric Ten Hag for giving a chance to younger players who look hungrier. So those are the things I would expect Ten Hag to do in the Luton game. But unfortunately, Mr. Dutchman, Mr. Tactician, Mr. Tinkerman might want to stick to his boys again, stick to his trusted guys, and not change anything significant about the team. And for me, that would be bad. Whereas he's a sort of a tinkerman, because I mean, he tinkered with David De Gea with a squad with a few decent feet there, and gave us this that is putting us where we are now. But for me, I think we should be able to beat Luton. There is no major news for us to be excited about, really. It's not like Lisandro Martinez is back. That would be the only exciting news for me, or confirmation that our guy, that is Kobe Maino, is going to be starting and is 100% fit. Those are the big stories I would want to hear and come here and tell you, not that Marcus Rashford is ready to start back again in the Premier League. That's no news for me. I think for me, regardless of who is there anyway, I think Man United should be able to beat Luton. I expect this to end in a 3-1 victory for United. I expect Rasmus HOJLUND to capitalize on his brilliant form in the Champions League and bring it in the Premier League as well, because we need him to pick his goal scoring boots in the Premier League. He's scoring goals for fun in the Champions League, but he's struggling a lot in the English Premier League. Now, it's against small clubs like Luton that a player like HOJLUND has got to step up and get his confidence, because you've got to score a hat-trick against these ones. But unfortunately for him, you cannot score a hat-trick if you've got Rashford going for goal himself instead of passing to you. So it's a tricky situation, but let's see, and let's hope there will be changes and positives. Let's hope we build on the last performance we had, the last 40 minutes of that game in the Champions League. If we do anything close to that, trust you me, Luton will get a beating and a bonus. But there's no bonus time from me. That's it. I'll be catching you later. The game is later on tonight. For now, enjoy it. Enjoy the action, but also give me your expectations from the game, what you want Eric Ten Hag to change in the comments section. Remember, the takeover talk is still going on. Sir Jim Ratcliffe ready to come in. That will be next week. For now, let's stick to the game. Let's stick to the football, because it's match day, guys. We respect match days here on the hotspot. We don't just talk about takeover when we've got a match to focus on. Hotspot, subscribe. My name is Webb. I'll catch you later, fam.